Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Ask Anything presented by Mosier Consulting. I'm your host, Angel Leon, Mosier's Director of Personnel. So today we've got a very interesting episode. Of course, it is May 4th. And if you've been living under a rock for the last 30 some odd years, May 4th is equally as important for those of us who are Star Wars fans. So May the 4th be with you.
And also with you.
Always.
So there you have producer Brian. He's here with me. And also we have last year's Mosier Trivia Challenge champion. And I got to give him his due. I believe I was telling him before this recording that I believe I was second or third. I can't remember. So kudos to John for joining us today, because this year Mosier is once again doing the Mosier Trivia Challenge for Star Wars. So we're very happy that our current champion is joining us, and we will be talking a little bit about Star Wars. We're going to be talking about last year's event, and I will be asking him a couple of questions from this year's event that will take place here at Mosier on May 4th. So John, how are you?
Doing great. Super happy to be here. You know, whenever Star Wars comes up, it's always a how much time do I get to put towards it? Not a, oh, I have to talk about this. So I'm very happy to be here. Happy to get a sneak peek at some of the questions, and hopefully my knowledge stands up, because a lot's happened since last year.
I will say that last year we mentioned, in addition to the actual prizes, bragging rights were up for grabs, and being a special guest on the May the 4th episode of Ask Anything is one of those prizes and a source of bragging rights. So congratulations to you.
I'm not gonna lie, I might have toted a few of those bragging rights around. Like, well, remember, I won the trivia contest. It wouldn't shock you to hear that a lot of IT people are big Star Wars fans.
Ooh, that's shocking. So tell me real quick, what did you pick as your prize last year?
Last year, I chose a Baby Yoda, aka Grogu, mug, and really enjoy it. Use it very often. My girlfriend thinks it's cute but hard to wash, but I think it's worth the effort.
The ears make it hard to wash.
Yeah, the ears make it hard to wash, and you kind of worry it might chip, you know, if you were a little too rough with it. But, you know, it holds a substantial amount of liquid, and I like having that kind of stuff lying around.
Yeah.
The Grogu cup needs a Beskar shirt to protect them.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
True. Never to be put in the dishwasher. So don't.
Never. Hand wash only. Hand wash only, for sure.
And last year, if I remember correctly, we all got to basically pick and choose what we got as prizes, and there was actually a good amount of prizes. I picked a X-Wing Starfighter Lego set, which is sitting at my house and my son's bedroom, so it's still intact. So for those of you who might be wondering, it's still intact. So
as it should be.
Yeah, as it should be. But there were many other things, but this year we're trying to take it up a notch. Obviously, as Brian mentioned, we have you here. You get bragging rights to be on this episode today and to talk about Star Wars with us. So obviously, I do have to ask you, what do you like about Star Wars? What drew you into Star Wars in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you ask, because I often find myself asking that question, like, why do I love this? Like, why do I know so much about it? Why do I take the time? And, you know, obviously some of it's childhood. My uncles had the original action figures from, when the original trilogy came out. I got to play with those very carefully as I was a Lego kid. There was plenty of Star Wars there as well. But I think as an adult, what keeps me engaged with being interested in Star Wars and that whole universe, even in the Disney times, which aren't always the easiest of times. Yeah. They're doing a good job still of trying to open up the universe rather than close it off. And then on top of that, good versus evil is always an interesting story, like plot line, narrative, whatever you want to call it. But if I'm being completely honest, I just like seeing spaceships fly around and lightsabers get ignited, droids getting chopped in half when it comes up. But with the new media they have, right, I'm counting down the days till the Kenobi show comes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really looking forward to seeing what they do with that. Finally get to see Ian McGregor back on the screen as a Star Wars character, finally. And a little bit on top of that, I want to see how they kind of fill in that gap of time, right?
Yeah.
Because that has always been kind of a contentious thing. And if you go into the books and the kind of like non-canon stuff, there's a whole bunch of different ways that time kind of elapses. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with it. I'm really hoping we get a Cal Kestis like little section there. Maybe he shows up. Maybe he's running away. Maybe he handles an Inquisitor. I doubt it, because it's not uncommon for them to canonize things from games, but it would be cool to see it. Because I didn't know this until recently, but the Sith mantra, what is it? The opposite of the Jedi code.
Mm-hmm.
That was originally in the Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast game, or no, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy game, or one of those. It was in there first, and then they canonized it after that because people loved it so much. So it'd be really, in The Mandalorian, or was it Book of Boba Fett, we get to see a BD-1 droid. That's Cal Kestis' droid in the game Fallen Order. So it's kind of like a tease.
Yeah.
But it'd be really cool to see them bring that character to life, because they used a real guy for the character. They made him into CGI graphics, and you get to play as him the entire time. A lot of people love that character. So it's mostly just the possibility of what could be.
Yeah, before we get to like the Kenobi series, because we could sit here and talk about this for hours.
Oh yeah.
But even the job that they've done with The Mandalorian and with the Book of Boba Fett, just kind of piecing all this, world, all this universe, and bringing us back to the original days with some continuation pieces. It's been wonderful to watch. And I got to say, I always give kudos to, shout out to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, I think it's the last name, because they've definitely taken a look at the series in general and kind of brought it back to what made it, what it is back in the late 70s, early 80s. They just kind of brought all that back and made it. It's not like it never was cool, but they made it really cool again.
Yeah, a lot of times I get a chance to drop one of my favorite Star Wars bon mots, generally after movies come out, is that no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans hate Star Wars.
So true.
Yeah.
There's actually a YouTube video that I'll send you guys a link to after this. It's a critique of the sequels, which I know, obvious, very easy to do.
Yep.
There's some good stuff there. Rey is a super interesting character. I think it was just the delivery of the story was a little rough.
Mm-hmm.
But he makes this point that with the sequel trilogy, it's an anti-Lucas trilogy more than it is an actual Star Wars trilogy. They're trying to undo all of what we've kind of come to accept as like standard parts of Star Wars and our expectation of the characters. And it's so funny when you read the comment section of any news post about a Star Wars thing, because there's always, you just can't, because half the time it's like, oh, we can't wait. And then someone's like, oh, you filthy casual, this is terrible. How could they do this to this character?
And not to stray away from the topic, but I'm also a Lord of the Rings fan, and just the Lord of the Rings fans are the same now with this new show that Amazon is putting together. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. They saw that preview trailer that came out, I don't know, a month or two ago, and people were just going nuts. How could you not do this? Like, has the show come out yet?
Yeah, there are people that cannot wait to hate just about anything.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for the Lord of the Rings
just
series.
give it a second to come out. Just
at least
let it breathe air.
Yeah.
Can we see the $58 million pilot they put together? Like before you naysay, right? Not to diverge, but the funniest naysaying I read about that Lord of the Rings preview was that the female dwarves didn't have beards.
Yes. I was just about to say that. Yes. Good Lord, let the show breathe for a second. I don't know if the show's going to be like that all the time, but I'm sure they don't want to put a promotional poster out there of a woman with a beard, because for the casual fan, it's going to look like, what the hell is this? And so, but for those of us in the know, yes, we do know that dwarf women have beards. I'm pretty sure it'll show up in some context in the TV series. And if it doesn't,
there will be people that mention that too.
It's okay. Yes, exactly. It's okay to stray away sometimes. Now, I guess, that would be a really huge stretch, but good Lord, let the show air the first episode before you judge it on a 1 minute trailer. I think it was. I mean, it's ridiculous, but sorry, I didn't mean to go down the Lord of the Rings path. I know we can leave that for another episode. Maybe we could do Lord of the Rings trivia. So where we were going with this is basically the new shows, and obviously some of the new movies are canon. And so those new shows are bringing us back to the old ways to kind of go up against what you said about the new movies being against what Lucas built versus these new shows are for what Lucas built. So
yeah,
I think they're amazing. I think the job they do telling the stories, I even think some of the episodes have been better than the actual movies, just because of the way that they move the plot around, the way that they move these characters forward. I mean, and now we're waiting on, as you mentioned, Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's going to be another series coming out. Ahsoka.
Yeah, Ahsoka Tano.
Ahsoka Tano. Yeah, I always want to call her Ahsoka. I don't know why. But yeah, so they're building this great universe back up from what Lucas built. And I think it's phenomenal. I think it's definitely for the new kids. I mean, I have an 8-year-old who loves it, who now he's like into it. My 19-year-old who's basically lived through the old stuff that we showed him. Then he went and saw
the prequels in the theater.
Prequels in the theater, and then now these ones, and he's made up a mind of his own about what he likes most or more than the other side. And he's like most of us, he believes the original ones are the better, which that's neither here nor there. But
and I think kind of on the same note, what I like about the new things that are coming out is they're taking the time to answer not even huge questions sometimes. Like if you think about Rogue One, that entire movie is resolving one question. How do they get the plans, right? How do they get the plans? A lot of my friends called it a throwaway movie, and I was like, it's actually one of the best Star Wars movies of all of them.
I agree.
It's a heist. It's
so cool.
It's the suicide mission. It's got everything a really good one-off movie needs, because you're by definition never going to see any of these characters ever again.
Yeah. And then if you think about just like Ahsoka being in the Mandalorian, that kind of opens up a door, and this we could talk about for way too long. But it opens up a door where there's, in the animated series, a scene where Ahsoka appears to die. If they make, in Rebels, there's another part where they're going to, sorry, that's terrible of me. It's been out long enough. I don't know. But there's another part where it seems that they're kind of laying the groundwork for a break in timelines. And if they do that and kind of retcon parts of what we already know exists, that creates another hate-fueled discussion. But it also opens up characters who aren't on the big screen to be there. And I really like that kind of play that they have. And they're so in tune with the fans to know what to be bringing out. Book of Boba Fett had some weird stuff with, some missteps, but I really liked it overall. I thought they answered some of the big questions, like how did he get out of the Sarlacc pit? There's a book out there where it's a completely different, lovely stuff.
From the Clone Wars into live action, that long tracking, walking out of the desert, Cad Bane introduction shot.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite things in Star Wars ever. It's like he's a really great character, but what an introduction to the live action portrayal of him. It's like, okay.
You feel the weight of each step,
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is going to end so bad.
No, and that's what I mean. I think the new group that has taken over, for these TV series they've not only done their homework, but like you were saying, John, I feel like they're more in touch with what people want now. That's sometimes not the best way to go, but in this case, it's giving us a lot of great material that we love, that we, like Brian was just mentioning, but that live action take just, for the people who watch the Clone Wars, like it takes you back. It like takes you to that, and then to see his face, and then the way they brought it up, when he was pulling up his head, and like you kind of see him like, oh, there he is. And
I didn't think the hat was quite big enough, but I'm okay. It's fine.
But it's it's like yeah, it's
I think my only beef right now that I have with the Kenobi show, kind of in the same vein of the hat thing, right? The
yeah,
hat size, that's a small thing. I get it. Proportions are different in real life and stuff, but the divergence of the portrayal of the race that the Grand Inquisitor is
yeah,
in the prequels, right? Different times, subject to debate. Not everyone's a huge fan. I'm of the generation that finds them not better than the originals, but they hold their weight.
They're fine. Yeah.
But that race is portrayed very differently in that time, using practical effects and more involved makeup. Whereas in the Kenobi show trailers, it looks very much more human.
yeah.
A little bit closer to what it looks like in the animated shows, which is fine by me, but it's not fine for everybody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, as we mentioned, we probably could stay here and talk for a couple of hours, but we don't want to do that. So we're going to go into a couple of these questions that we have for this year. So we're going to give John a little bit of a crack at him to see
I do.
how well he does in this year's trivia in our
Don't
event.
worry.
So I'm going to start with a very easy one, and that is, who said the first lines in Star Wars A New Hope?
Who said the first line?
First character that speaks.
The first character that actually speaks. Okay, I'm trying to replay it in my head. Time limit in Kahoot's usually 30 seconds, so I got a few more seconds. I hate to say it, but I think C3PO, but I could be off.
You are correct.
You are correct, sir.
That was a close one, guys. I was a little worried.
You are correct. It was C3PO. That was a good guess. All right, let me see. All right, let's do this one. Name the movie from the poorly explained movie plot. Scrappy group of guerrilla fighters sing joyously after defeating a far superior force.
That's got to be episode 6.
And that is Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
See, I told you I was going to do easy ones. So when you get to do the trivia, you'll get these right away. Okay, let me see. All right, last one. We'll do this one. Newspaper headline in Star Wars universe. Name the scene. Local city administrator caught up in the machinations of regional politics and religious leaders.
Name the scene?
Yes. Name
Can I get
the
it
scene.
one more time? One more time.
Sure. Local city administrator caught up in the machinations of regional politics and religious leaders. So think about.
Sounds prequel era, but local politics, machinations of, okay.
Local city administrator caught up in the machinations of regional politics and religious leaders.
Like, you want to focus on the word administrator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I'm stumped because my brain's kind of pulled between two places. I'm thinking it's either part of The Mandalorian where we see Ahsoka again, or it's sometime in the prequels, maybe episode 2, but I can't name the scene off the top.
No, it's
All right,
Calrissian and Cloud City.
Oh, I always forget he's the mayor, man.
He's I'm just an administrator.
Yeah, I'm just an administrator. Yeah. So there you have it. 3 questions for this. So you got 2 out of 3. That's
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see the rest of the questions because those were good. Like even the easy ones, just how they're worded, very well thought out. By the way, Brian.
Yeah, I try. There you go.
Hey, it's the originals, man. That's awesome.
Now, Vader still has his cloak, the vinyl cloak, but no lightsaber. Kenobi, no cloak, no lightsaber. Luke still has his lightsaber.
Nice.
Wow. We're recording this via video
visor.
Zoom.
Yeah, no visor on the X-Wing. And then the crown jewel.
Oh, nice.
Vader's ship, complete with the tab you can pull out. And there he is.
Oh man,
in
that's
the
so
seat.
cool.
That's an original 83, I think.
That's fantastic.
My
man.
parents recently sold their house and cleaned out the basement and attic, and I got all of my treasures back.
Yeah, finally. Love to see it, man. That's awesome.
Ryan was just showing us his treasure trove of Star Wars action figures from the early 1980s, probably.
Yeah.
I would.
And since this is audio, I'll probably cut this part out. I just wanted to show them off.
Yeah. Please don't. Our reactions to that Darth Vader was.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, John, it was great to have you. Good luck at the trivia this week. May the 4th be with you, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, you as well. And take care, and thanks for having me. See everybody.
Anytime. Thank you. We'd like to thank last year's Star Wars Trivia Champion, John, for joining us this week on Ask Anything to talk about Star Wars and this year's Star Wars Trivia Contest within our Mosier Consulting Group. Ask Anything will be back next week with another episode, continuing to dive deeper with our resident experts and what they're currently working on. If you have an idea or a topic you'd like us to explore, please reach out to us through our social media channels. In the meantime, please remember to give us a rating and subscribe to our feed wherever you get your podcasts. Until then, what else am I going to say? May the Force be with you. So long, everybody.